YouTube, what is going on? Hope you guys are doing well and staying blessed up. In today's video, I've got something exciting for you in terms of how you actually should automate your SMMA and your actual outreach in particular. And I'm going to show you exactly how much you should actually charge or even pay for a service like this. I'm just going to show you, I guess, behind the scenes, because a lot of people have been reaching out to me and be like, Montel, how much is it costing you right now for your first line writers? How much does your outreach system cost? Blah, 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 blah. So I thought I'd just do a huge video, just breaking it down. I guess, I don't know why I said huge video. I guess I meant in-depth video, breaking all this down to the very pence and penny, or even cents if you're in America. But guys, just before I get into this, as always, please drop me a like, comment, and subscribe, and please turn on a little notification bell so you get notified every time I drop a fire upload. That whole helps me with the algorithm and stuff like that, and it helps me push out my word, and it also shows me if you guys like these videos or not. So with that being said, guys, what I'm gonna do is jump into my computer. I've got a tracking sheet based upon how much outreach I need to do, because that's another question I get asked as well. I'm going to show you exactly how much you should be paying your first line writers and everything basically in between. So let's jump straight into this. So guys, now that we are in my beautiful computer, here's what we have got in front of us. This basically is my reverse engineering outreach tracking sheet, and if you guys are obviously in my program, you guys get this for free. So this basically helps me track everything I need to do in terms of how much outreach I need to do, how many hours a day that's actually then going to equate out to be, what my open rate is. Basically all this is like an interchangeable kind of like automatically updates type of sheet. Like as you can see, the numbers fly around and stuff like that. So as you can see, what we've got on the sheet is basically a whole bunch of data that you actually input, and then it spits back out how much, how many first line writers you need, what the actual cost is going to be, cost per target amount of clients, cost per single amount of client. It's also going to show you, for example, how much engagement you need a day, how much outreach you need to do per day, what the average time is based upon, you can actually set this. For example, if it takes you 10 minutes to write a single email, then you're going to have to work around 3.7 hours a day, and the amount of minutes that is 220 minutes. So as you can see, this is extremely in-depth. And to be honest with you guys, if you don't have a system like this or some sort of tracking sheet like this, I highly recommend you go out there and build this. Again, if you're in my 4-week mentorship program, you get given this for completely free, so you don't need to build this out. With that being said, guys, what I want to do is show you basically how you go about reverse engineering your outreach and stuff like that, and showing you basically how to actually automate that, and then how much you should actually pay for that. So first and foremost, as you can see, today's date's obviously not that. It's right now, it's the 17th of April, so you don't really need to mess about with this, but if you want to, I guess we can set it to the 17th just so it's accurate. So here's what you want to do, guys. You want to first of all think far out into the future in terms of 6 months time, a year's time from now, and you want to ask yourself, how many clients do I want, and at which date do I want them by? So for example, let's say you want 4 clients in 6 months. Well, we know, if we go to our calculator real quick, for example, if you're working 5 days a week and you times that by 4, that's how many days, this is how many working days you're going to be working in one particular month. Now you just times that by 6, which means you have 120 business days of working. So what you would do is you would put in your business days, number of business days this basically is. So you put 120 business days in here. If you're working, for example, 6 days a week and you're doing outreach 6 days a week, you're obviously going to times 6 by 4. There's going to be 6 working days in a week, and then it's obviously 4 weeks in a month. So that's how many working days there is going to be in a month. Then obviously you times that by 6, there'd be 144. So if you're working 6 days a week, as you can see, if we put, for example, 144 in here, everything else starts to drop. For example, your number of direct outreach. Now, these numbers over here, guys, you actually have to pull them from your previous stats. And what I've done, by the way, is I've made these ridiculously harsh on myself. For example, I have campaigns that are operating at a 20% reply rate. I've even had a 40% reply rate on a campaign. But what I'm gonna do is take the average and then kind of just like drop it a few notches, just so that I basically overestimate how much outreach I'm going to do. Because again, there's no point underestimating this. You might as well overestimate this. So I'm saying here, so this right here basically means out of all the outreach I do, what is my reply rate? How many replies am I getting back? So let's say that you send out 100 emails. How many of those people are then going to, how many out of those 100 emails are going to reply back to you? So I would say you should aim for around 15% is a healthy margin. Like I said, I kind of make myself kind of like super harsh on this particular thing because I want to overshoot my goals basically. And I recommend you do the same. Not only that, but we also add a margin of safety of 20% here. That's something that Sam Ovens teaches in his course. And by the way, I kind of adapted this right here from Sam Ovens' course, and then I actually implemented this on my own and kind of like changed it up and made it my own basically. So that being said, guys, for me, I put 12% in here. Now my replies to actually discovery call. So this basically means out of all the replies that you get, so let's say you send 100 emails, 12 people then reply, because that's a 12% reply rate. Out of those 12 people, how many of those then turn into actual discovery calls? Now I know for a fact this is around 20%. Like I genuinely know out of, for example, 10 replies, I know for a fact I'm getting at least 2 people on the call without a doubt. But just to be harsh, I'm actually going to drop this down to 10% because again, I'm trying to overshoot my goals. But again, this is just to show you guys that you want to really be harsh. Now this particular number here is, again, it's your sales call. So how out of all these replies that you actually then turn into a sales call, how many of those sales calls that you have then turn into actual closes? Now I know for a fact I have at least a 20% close rate, so 1 in 5 basically. I know for a fact that if I get 5 people on the phone, I'm at least closing 1 of them as a new client. But what I'm going to do is be super harsh and then just drop it a little bit again. So as you can see, what I'm doing with these numbers right here, especially should I just say this number, this number, this number, and even this number, I'm being super harsh on myself. And again, I recommend you do this. Now that basically spits out the adjusted number. So basically it takes into consideration what your conversion rates are at these 3 points here. And then it also takes into consideration this particular number here. So as you can see, the number of direct outreach messages I need, or should I say cold emails I need to send out to get 4 clients would be 2,222. But if we add a 20% margin of error just for no reason other than just to overstate our goals, overstate our, the inputs that we need to create the outputs, your inputs being your actual emails. This then jumps up to 2,667 emails I need to send out to get 4 e-commerce clients, for example. So I already know these are BS numbers, as in I know I can get 4 clients in way less than 2,667 emails, but I'm gonna shoot for 2,667 emails. But I'm pretty sure you guys have heard that cliche saying, guys, that like shoot for the stars and if you miss, you'll end up on the moon or some shit like that, or whatever they say. That's basically the concept here. You want to overstate how much outreach you need to do in order to achieve your goals, because again, there's no point doing too little outreach. I'd rather do way more than enough outreach to then hit my goals basically. So as you can see, it also spits back the adjusted number of emails I need per 1 client. Now again, if I was to put in like more realistic numbers, such as like maybe I got 50, I know for a fact I can get a 15% reply rate. I know for a fact right here 20%, this should be a 20%. I know for a fact I've got a 1 in 5, should I say, close rate. Then that actually spits back out different numbers. As you can see, it automatically updates. Now these are more realistic, but again, I'm just being super harsh on myself, and I would rather way overstate my goals than understate them, like I keep saying here. So I'm just gonna put these back real quick, just so I can show you, I guess, with more numbers, so it looks more expensive, just so you guys can kind of get a more realistic. I'm tired of these gurus showing you that like, oh, just send 100 emails and you get 4 clients. Like, no, that doesn't really happen. Well, it can happen, but I want you guys to go into this with a more realistic mindset. So as you can see over on this side, it now spits back out like how much hours you need to work, and how many minutes you actually need to work, and how much outreach you need to do per day. So this actually breaks this down. For example, if you take a look at the number of direct outreach messages you need per day, as you can see, it's coming out at 19. However, if I was to change, for example, this down to 5% reply rate, as you can see, I then need to do more outreach, because obviously I need more replies basically, because more replies means more sales calls mean more closes at a 15% reply rate, that is. Hopefully you guys get what I'm talking about here. But as you can see, at these particular numbers here, if I want to grab 4 clients in 144 days, which is 6 months working 6 days a week, I then need to send 19 emails. Now let's say it takes me on average 10 minutes to write 1 email, which it doesn't. Again, I actually have a first line writer, which is where we're going to come into this. So if I was doing these emails myself and I was writing them and it was taking me 10 minutes per day, it would actually, 10 minutes per email, should I say, not 10 minutes per day. It would actually take me a total minutes that I need to take of action a day would be 185 minutes, which is only 3 hours. So as you can see, this right here gives you a real breakdown. And obviously if you type in 15 minutes per email, obviously this is going to jump up because obviously you're taking you more time to write an email. So as you can see, this sheet again, it shows you how much outreach you need to do in total, how much outreach you need to do per day, how many hours and minutes that's going to take you. So now it becomes a matter of just putting the numbers in, as in like, now you know the numbers, all you have to do is actually just do the numbers in terms of, you now know it's probably going to take you 2,667 emails for 4 clients. So now all you have to do is hit that number and you'll get 4 clients if your numbers, hold steady, which they should, because you should be putting in here realistic numbers, or even being harsh to yourself and putting in really harsh numbers, which is what I recommend you always do. And then add on a 20% margin of error, just to be even more on the safe side. That basically, again, breaks this down into a mathematical model for you to follow, basically like a science, which again, I highly recommend you build something out like this. Now, let's show you the first line writers and where first line writers come into this. Now, for me, I can see that writing first lines is an important task, but it's really not worth it in terms of like the tediousness that goes into it. Well, of course it's worth it in terms of you can get clients doing this, but if you have the money, I recommend you outsource this. Reasons why I recommend you outsource, and what I mean by outsource is literally hiring somebody off of Upwork and you pay them on a weekly basis. I pay my first line writer on a weekly basis to write me 25 lines per day. Now, all he does is write literally just 1 line of text based upon that business. He goes to Google, he will find, I already have a list of e-commerce businesses, for example. He goes and types that e-commerce business into Google. He finds articles about that business and he finds the business owners' names and stuff like that. And what he does he writes a first line based upon their business. So for example, I'll give you an example of a first line. Let's just say we have a business owner called John. They have a business called John's Clothing and they had a podcast with somebody called Brian. So he would say something on the lines of, hi John, would be like just the bit in my template message. Then there would be a line underneath that, which is the personalized first line. So it would go, hi John, just came across the interview you had with Brian on his YouTube channel on how you started John Clothing back in 2015. I found the point that you made about sustainability and bringing your brand up via actually building it from your kitchen way back in the day really inspiring, and it really made me think about the environment more. That would be a cool personalized first line. Probably not the best one off the top of my head, to be honest with you. There's definitely better ones, but the key takeaways when it comes to personalized first lines is you want to name drop, as in like if you see a business owner have an interview with somebody, actually mention that person's name that they're having an interview with. So for example, if you a business owner, if you was reaching out to an e-commerce client, for example, and they had an interview with me, you'd be like, oh, I seen you had an interview with Montel on his channel. Really love the point you made about X, Y, and Z and how you started your company with your wife, Sarah, from your kitchen table. That would be a very personalized first line. You can't make that up. That is, very, very unique to them, and that line right there would not be able to suit anybody else. So that's how specific your first lines are supposed to be, and obviously that's tedious. That's where personalized first line writers come in. So that's an example of a first line and what first line writers actually do. How much does it cost to actually hire this out? So for me, I actually have 1 personalized first line right now. I used to have 2. So if you put 2 in here, what it should do is actually just, as you can see, the cost per first line writer stays the same. The total monthly cost actually jumped from £145 to, I think it was £290. I'm just gonna quickly bet, yeah, £290. So I charge, obviously I pay in pounds, so I'm over here in the UK, but my actual first line writer is in the Philippines. So £145 per month. It sounds very, very cheap. I wanna show you guys that that's actually $200 in the US for you guys that are wondering, and $200 in Philippine pesos is actually almost 10,000 pesos, which apparently is quite a good salary, because in 2018 the average Filipino family income was only like $6,000 for the entire year. So if we take, for example, $6,000, round it out, I guess, divide that by 12, this is how much the average family is making as a family. Like the actual family income, which is ridiculous, and that's per month. And I'm paying this dude $200 just to write me first lines that takes him maybe an hour and a half, probably 2 hours at the max, at the most, and I'm paying him $200 for that. So as you can see, the pay is quite well for them over there. Obviously for us, over in like the western sides of the world, if you're watching this, is obviously really cheap for us, but like for over there, that's actually a really good salary as well, because the dude I hired is actually very young as well. So and by the way, his English is absolutely impeccable. His first lines are really just just 10 out of 10. I'm so happy with the work he does. But as you can see, when you update, for example, the number of first line writers, everything else jumps in this particular sheet. For example, if we have a first line writer and I know his capacity is 25 lines a day, then if I add another first line writer, that basically means the system has now gone up and updated to 50 emails a day that we can actually crank out. Now, as you can see, it then breaks down how many total emails we can send, in a week if we're doing, 5-day weeks, for example, as in 5-day working weeks, as in we're working Monday to Friday, and that equals, 1,000 emails per month. So as you can see, this really breaks down your goals super easily. But let me get back to the price real quick. So let's say you have one email writer, and again, all they do is they don't write the entire email. They literally just write one single line. It's literally a sentence. They're only writing a sentence. So I'm paying this dude quite good money just to write me a sentence. Obviously in his country, over here it's really cheap, but over in his country it's quite a good salary. It's like literally half of what an entire family, almost half of what an entire family would make as a whole family, which is the parents and maybe the child sometimes. But anyway, long story short, as you can see, I also have one domain. This actually calculates literally every cost, as in I'm trying to calculate how much it cost me for my first line writer, how much does it cost me per domain, how much does it cost me for my Lemlist account. By the way, if you're wondering why my Lemlist account is only £26, it's because I was an early adopter on Lemlist. I got this question asked before, but I was an early adopter on Lemlist, so I actually still have the plan, which was like, I think it was like $29 plus VAT or plus like, sales tax. So it actually works out to be around £26 for me is what I pay. So it works out to be £26 that I'm actually paying. So that basically means for my entire email system, so my first line writer, my actual domains, my actual Lemlist account, it cost me £175 per month. If you guys are wondering what that basically is, let's actually just quickly go like this. So it's actually costing me $242 to completely automate this. Again, my first line writers basically automate the line writing. My email domain is obviously what I'm sending my emails from, and then Lemlist is what's automatically sending out the emails for me and sending out the follow-ups for me as well. So that total email system cost me £175, £176 should I say. And guys, if you're wondering where I get my leads from, I literally have a list of leads. For example, I believe it's a list of Shopify stores, all of them. I have 2.7 million Shopify stores in an Excel sheet basically that I actually got. And what I actually do with that, by the way, if you guys are in the 4-week program, you actually get given that for free. So you guys get access to immediate 2,700,000 friggin' e-commerce stores. So if you're in the program, you're obviously blessed right now because you get all these systems, all the scripts, you even get the leads given to you. What more do you want? But anyway, guys, look. Total daily email sends, as you can see, for one email writer is 25. Total sends per week would obviously be 125 emails a week. And this is how much I'm actually doing right now. So this is how much outreach I'm doing right now. And I also broke it down to like how much it's costing me per send, how much it's costing me per reply, how much it's costing me to acquire a phone call via cold email, and how much it's going to cost me, how much it's going to cost me to acquire all 4 clients based upon my single cost per client acquisition, if you will, cost per acquisition, if you will. So as you can see, it's going to cost me £234, which is £234, 235 I'll just put in. So it's going to cost me $325 to acquire a e-commerce client, for example, or whatever type of client you're going after. So as you can see, this is a really cool sheet. It breaks everything down to the actual cost per send, cost per reply, cost per call, and you really need to know these metrics if you're going to try scale this. Because again, you don't even know if you're being profitable or not. But as you can see, this is really cheap in order to acquire an actual e-commerce client, for example, who's gonna pay you maybe 2K a month. It's really cheap if you really think about it, guys. I would happily pay even more than, I'd happily pay up to 2K to actually acquire an e-commerce client for 2K if they stay on for 3 months, that is, because I know that I'm going to make profit in the long run, especially if we do like ROAS deals and stuff like that. With that being said, guys, I'll see you back on camera. So guys, this has been a stupidly powerful video for you guys to understand. If you guys rewatch this back over and over again, you will really start to see like how important your metrics are. Then you start tracking all of this in a sheet like this. Then you have your your cost per send, cost per reply, cost per client acquisition. From then on, you can then start scaling your email systems. So I highly recommend you go build out a sheet like this. Again, if you're in the 4-week program, you get given this for free. If you haven't received it yet, you should take a look into the resources section in the program. You guys will definitely have this updated in there. Just download it, press make a copy, and you will instantly have a copy of this. If not, if you're not in the 4-week program, go and build something like this. I'm telling you right now, this is like the eyes in your business. If you don't even know if you're bleeding money if you don't even have a system like this. So highly recommend you go build a system like this. But again, to answer your question, guys, it's costing me $200 per month for my first line writer. They write 25 emails a day. Out of that, I'm getting anywhere between a 12% reply rate to 30% reply rate. I would say probably a little bit less, 12 to 20%. But again, I'm gonna take the lowest number just so that I can be harsh on myself, so I can send out way more emails than I need to get clients, basically. So that being said, guys, this is the system that's actually cranking out anywhere between 2 to 4 meetings per week for me via cold emails with really, really high-end e-commerce brands. For example, right now I am talking to an e-commerce brand right now. It's a 3K per month deal with a 10% ROAS. On top, they have an ad budget of £40,000, which is what I believe is like 50, 60 US dollars. So hopefully I get that closed. But I just had a call with them the other day. They literally have they're verified on Instagram. They literally have just under 700,000 Instagram followers. So, fingers crossed for that. And hopefully that deal goes through. That being said, guys, though, this is how I'm doing it. And I highly recommend you replicate this, because I know what it's like trying to write cold emails yourself, writing these first lines yourself. It takes way too long. Lead sourcing, way too long. Those jobs within itself are like a 9-to-5 job. With me, I've outsourced that and literally just chilling back, and calls are coming in. I can then check on my calendar who's a good fit from who's not a good fit, and then I just eliminate those who are not a good fit, so I never get on a call with somebody who's not qualified. Basically, it's a really, really good system that I built here, and this is what I teach in my program. So if you want to just literally send me a DM on Instagram, or just literally book in a free consultation call with me. It's completely free. We'll just figure out if this system is going to be working for you. If not, then no harm done. With that being said, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.